don't know if they were able to find out the real culprits behind it. And there's only one thing you could do with them is put them to sleep, because you can't keep those kind of people around. But we have some problems here in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas that we need to deal with them. I was very disappointed with the remarks I heard on the radio from the Prime Minister and the Minister of Health in relation to the matter in Long Island with the lady who was transported in heavy rain on the back of a truck. And the Prime Minister mentioned, Mr. Producer, I don't know if you have those tapes, what just came on today, those remarks made by the Prime Minister and also by the Minister of Health. If you can find them, fine, we would play them. But the point is that you can't offer an apology, Mr. Dowell, the Honorable Minister Dowell. That's not acceptable. Because if I can't pay my health bill, and I say I'm apologizing because I can't pay my health bill, will you accept that? Will Princess Margaret Hospital accept that? Will the private doctors accept that? Will water and sewer accept that? I can't pay my water bill today or this year. I offer you an apology. Apologies mean absolutely nothing to a sick woman who had to be toted on the back of a truck with an oxygen tank and had difficulty even getting into the plane. I mean, what are we saying? 52 years as an independent nation, and all you could offer is a friggin' apology? What kind of crap is that? We don't seem to understand the seriousness of the times in which we live. And I have to blame the people of Long Island and the people of the Bahamas in general for allowing the government of the Bahamas to mess around with us over the last 52 years on basic fundamental issues regarding health, regarding transportation, regarding ambulances, regarding fires. Everything is just breaking up all around us. And we don't seem to understand that we have power, according to our Constitution, to put pressure on the government of the Bahamas to bring change. Even Professor Tinker told them that the other day. But we always want to think, 5 years? Some of you might even be here after 5 years. Then what? Rodney Monke is not here. Darrell Miller is not here. Who's going to be in the election like Darrell Miller? Do we have a replacement for Darrell Miller? See, these are things we're not even thinking about. The nation has to move on. Where are the replacements? We need replacements for both of them. You know, Rodney Monke had his style and Darrell Miller had his style. What about many members of the media who were gutted? They're not in the media now. They are elsewhere. You can find out for yourself where they are. But they're not in media. Trained persons who were there in the last election, they're not going to be around for this election. They're somewhere else. So the media has been gutted. And you have a lot of young people that are coming along, and nothing's wrong with that. They have to be trained. But you need some veterans. You need some people who are going to be able to stand up and hold the fort estate. So what are we going to do? I was disappointed what the Prime Minister had to say, totally disappointed what the Minister had to say. Prime Minister said he can send some ambulance to the family. And give me a break, man. After 52 years, you just remember you're going to send some ambulances. My understanding is they have two, they're not working. And then I understand the story about where somebody got the keys, no one know where the keys are and all kind of crap. We're just not organized. And I've said to you as Bahamians, you are not organized in your constituencies for the improvement and the betterment of your community. No apology is going to help that mother or that grandmother and her family. Her family's not going to be accepting no apology. Apology for what? When she ought to have proper health services, not only for her, but for the whole, everybody in Long Island and Bahamas in general. And after 52 years, you can just remember you need to send ambulances there. Give me a break, man. Then I'm hearing the story about ambulances that are stick shift. Instead of getting vehicles that could easily be moved, the automatic ones, easy to maneuver, the fella got to use his two hands, deal with the stick shift. And let me say this about traffic on the streets, because I had to walk before I came to work here. These large trailers, Bahamians, are very dangerous. I was right on Shirley Street. And when those trailers pass by, like they almost knock you to the ground with the speed they were going. Okay? All they got to do is fall in one rut in these rocky roads, and that trailer tilt. Then what? The driver portion go one way and the thing in the back go another way. And when they fall, has a lot of steel or iron, whatever it's made out of, that can kill whoever is in that little vehicle behind them or on the side of the road. You don't know when it's going to fall. Or it might run against a post, hit the lamppost, and then the live wires fall down. Nobody even considers that. I experienced that all on East Street. I had to move quickly, way off. In fact, that one, I saw that one coming. So I was able to move quickly, way off the sidewalk onto one yard somewhere. And they were going at such a high rate of speed heading down East Street. We need to have times for them to move. Say, for example, like 11 o'clock in the night to 5 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning. You shouldn't have them on the road where people are walking, people are on their scooters, people have to traverse the streets, but you got these large, heavy trailers. We don't know the condition of the trailer itself, its wheels. Something could snap, all of a sudden, something snap, and then the big trailer fall right to the side and mash it. It will kill you. Then what you can do then, you can wait for a serious accident like that to occur. There should be a special time for them to be on the road. 11 in the night to 5 in the morning. After that, they got to get off the road. What you don't do, and then you do it 11 o'clock the next night to 5 o'clock in the morning. The problem in this country is we, even in the agencies of the government, are not organized. It's dangerous. And right that strip on Shirley Street is so narrow, only the mercies of God kept me. Because if he had hit a hole or one of those wheels broke off or something, because these things happen. They don't check these things, Bahamians. Don't trust them to check nothing. They just jump in the trailer and they go driving. So, were it not for the mercies of God, I might not have been here today. But thank God I'm here. But that is something we need to tell road traffic. You've got to get those trailers off the streets during the daytime. 11 in the night, 5 in the morning, that's all the time for them. What they don't do then, they wait for the next day. Because they are a danger to the public. They have no respect for road users. Extremely high rate of speed on East Street and on Shirley Street. You know, Shirley Street is also now, it's going one way, but it's still narrow. So Bahamians, you have the power in your hand to put pressure on the government of the Bahamas. You don't do it. You just sit right there with your mouth pinned up. You don't do anything. I said to you from last July the 8th, 2024, but you could say, Professor, what can we do? I told you back from then. Not one single community has brought together a team. Say, Professor, this is the team we could work with. You don't even know your Constitution. And so you put nothing together, nothing happens. So that's why you may be shocked over what happened to this lady in Long Island, but it happened in Exuma, it happened in Andros, even right here on New Providence, it happened. So it's happening all over the country. You just don't know when an emergency is going to happen. Using lights from the vehicle to shine on the runway. They even have enough sense to put reflectors on the runway so when the plane is coming down, the lights of the plane will reflect on the reflectors so they could see where they're going. We even had tragedy with that, and nothing has happened. Do we have a caller, Mr. Producer? Oh my God! I. Okay, that's the doctor, right? He's on. Okay, I'm sorry about that talk. Sometimes when I get carried away, but thank you, Mr. Producer. Okay, brother Hyla, not Hyla, Cartwright. Welcome to the State of the Nation: Issues of National Importance.
Well, good afternoon, Professor. I'm happy to be here in this wet and sunny day, and thank God for the opportunity. And to the global audience, locally and internationally. And I would be interesting to sit and listen to our other guest, Dr. Colley.
Dr. Colley, yeah.
But you did speak about 9/11.
Yes.
This happened about 24 years ago.
Oh, that's a good while back. Yeah.
And one of the things that I still remember of it was that back then I was a party animal, and I happened to leave a facility, and that early morning I walk into a particular restaurant and they were playing the tape, the stuff live, and I was like,
right,
I don't want to watch that. Go to another channel. So they switch it, and I saw the same thing, and I said, hold on, you showed me the same thing over again. Change the channel.
Right.
And they went through 4 news channels, and the lady in the restaurant didn't realize this was happening live. I didn't pay it attention until we saw. I said, that's the plane going into the building. And she looked up, she said, that's real. And I said, wow, not realizing at that moment what went down.
Right.
And it took about that rest of the day to understood, man, this is something very, 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 very serious.
Yes.
And it's always been since that day, people's like, I said, we've never really got to find out the truth.
No.
Understanding what went down.
That is true.
And so when I tell people, I said, people always say, well, things going to happen. I said, yes, you got to understand that when you're a country as powerful as the U.S., there are times you got to be careful of muscling some of the smaller nations around the world, especially when you're a country that has open arms to everybody.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And so I always tell people, well, why you say that? I said, well, when you take of a country like ours, we might not have a 9/11, but if you keep letting people come into your country, eventually they will have the numbers. And what if they decide that with that numbers, they want to change what you have here?
Exactly. That would be a big problem.
We don't know, and I always tell people, we are not known to be aggressive people.
No, we're not.
We're more passionate, more lax. And so people say, oh, you sound like you were mad. No, I'm not mad about people coming in. But you have to have a limit. Because I always tell people that in life, I look at life to be a two-way street with me.
Exactly.
If you can come into my house and eat my food and go in my fridge, I believe that when I come to your house, I should be afforded the same opportunity. And if I don't have that same opportunity, then you can no longer come to my home.
Okay.
That's the way I look at life.
Mm-hmm.
I do not believe that should put someone else priorities above mine.
That doesn't make any sense.
Especially as a citizen, I don't think as a citizen, I should put others who are non-citizens priorities above mine and then treat them as if they are my citizens.
Yes, yes.
Okay. When in their country, I don't get that same affordability.
You don't get that same affordability.
There are things that we have to look at, and I said, we need to start looking at whether putting numbers and curbing on how many we let in the time. And so that is good.
That's good.
But, like I said, with 9/11, I like the where
the
doctor
Colley
was.
Yeah, but he's supposed to He's supposed to be talking about suicides. And I said Bahamians do not commit suicides. I've said that on air because we've always had the Holy Bible. From the day I was born, even before I was born, the Holy Bible was right in the house. And you know if you commit suicide, you're going straight to hell. Dr. Colley, welcome to the Express Yourself on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. Thank you for accepting the invitation. Dr. Colley, is he there? Yeah, unmute your mic.
Unmute your mic, Doc.
Yes, good afternoon, and thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you and your listening audience and your guests. Thank you so much, Professor and Mr. Cartwright. Of course, I've been listening to this program for quite some time, and when I'm free listening to the vehicle, and you have opened my eyes and the eyes of the country to the Constitution, the right that we have, and how sadly many of those rights have been violated for so many years. Is unbelievable. It is. And then of course gathering the people in each constituency. I sound almost like you, and mobilizing. But I want to let you know that people are listening, professionals and people of every walk of life are listening and learning and stand with you in the fight. They might not see you all the time. I'm in Grand Bahama, so I can't touch you physically yet, but I plan to meet with you and join in with you and whatever we can, because we have a nation to lead. We have to think 50, 100, 150 years from now, even if we're not here. What are we doing today to preserve the constitutional right of the citizenship, and how do we preserve our nation? We're too young to have this amount of challenges, but of course we've never been taught Constitution like other countries. We know about independence, but we have not been taught about the Constitution in school. I was never taught about it in primary, not in high school, not even at the University of Bahamas. It's not a course.
No, it isn't.
Civics is not a course.
People would
so most people don't know it.
Go ahead, Professor.
Yeah. People would ask me why, and I said, well, you got to ask those who you gave the power to run this place for 52 years. You got to ask them. And the answer, I know just what to do with it. But the point is, it has not been done. Now you have to find alternative means of being able to work with it, because the government of Bahamas has not been responsible in that regard. Even about the commitments that are mentioned in the Constitution for the express purpose of preserving your freedom, they've never touched on those national commitments over the last 52 years. Never given any consideration to them. However, we have had peaceful transitions of governments, or administrations, let me put it that way, only one government, administrations, from 73, even before that, from 1729, that's one by one. From 1729, when you were a colony, peaceful transition of one administration to the other, right on up to this very day. And I believe that is a very strong selling point we can use to bring tourists to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, because they don't know that. You don't tell them that. People want to go to a place where they're safe, and I can't blame them.
Stable government, yes.
People in Nepal, they're moving there now. All kind of trouble going on in Nepal.
Yes.
There's tremendous confusion. But in the Bahamas, and the problems we have had peaceful transitions from one administration to the next, and I hope we can keep it up. Dr. Colley, go ahead.
Yes, well, I know that stuff became, but I just wanted to let you know about your work is being fully felt throughout the nation, and you have a lot of support. Just be encouraged to know that. I know you wanted us to share on the suicide and depression, so you just tell me where to go and how to take off.
Yeah, because you see, I'm trying to figure out on the phone yesterday. I've looked every way I could possibly find. in my family tree on both sides of the fence. I've talked to my cousins, 7 generations deep. There's not one thread of evidence of anyone even attempting suicide. And how big the family is now. But all these little ones and middle-sized ones, I know they like to eat food. But I can't find one single thread of evidence that any one of them want to kill themselves. I don't see it. So I find it very difficult. Who are these people who are committing suicides or attempting to commit suicide? What's the real cause of it? Because even though we may have time, we always rely on God to pull us through. What happened to that? From even slavery days, when the chains were taken off our mothers and fathers, they went right in the little chapel right there that the master put up for them, and they gave thanks to God. They didn't go and rape his wife. They didn't go and burn down his house. We didn't do that in the Bahamas.
Yes.
Other people did that.
Professor,
but the point is, who is committing these suicides in the Bahamas? Are they genuine Bahamians? Because I never get that side. I just hear attempts for people to commit suicide is increasing, and people who commit suicide, it's increasing in the Bahamas. Why? Dr. Comey.
Thank you, Professor. Thanks for having me. And again, this is a very critical time. Professor, I totally understand your point and your argument, and I agree with you in a lot of what we said. What has happened, though, we have suicide is not isolated. It is usually connected to what we call major depressive disorder or depression. And of course, when you look at the numbers that are increasing, you have two factors. One, we have more reporting in some cases. So a lot of diseases now, 30 years ago, even though they were happening, they were not reported as these cases. All right. So people were depressed and sad and attempted suicide all throughout history. But those numbers might not have been recorded back in the day. So now with the renewed medical practice in the country, with renewed and strengthened healthcare facilities, people who come in for attempted suicide are now being documented properly. So that could be one reason. Secondly, we have a large substance abuse. So people are now using alcohol at the greatest level in the country. And so that leads to more depression, more hopelessness, more attempted suicide, and sadly, more completion of suicide. You have people on, of course, other drugs, cocaine, marijuana is still here. Then you have prescription drugs that people are using.
Oh, yes.
And the numbers, these things alter the mood and the behavior, and yes, lead to increased rates of attempted suicide. Now, you could look, as you said, what has changed socially and economically. So back in the day, I mean, there was a community. Today, people are more isolated. There's not the community in church anymore that we once had, that if there was a problem, the church gathered around, visited you with food, prayed with you. The pastor visited your house. Now people don't feel that community. The pastor doesn't shake their hand at the end of the service, or go to the home, or come 12 o'clock at night with the praying leaders if there's a problem in the home.
Yes.
Women feel isolated. They're being put out. They're losing their jobs. The economic challenges are difficult, and people seem to feel like there's nowhere to go where what they're going through will be held in confidence. That's another point. People don't feel like there's confidentiality anymore. So if I said I'm hungry, or I'm being abused, or I'm being raped or molested, or I'm feeling like I want to give up on life, there's no one I could go to that I feel that I could trust that will get me the help I need, or even put the money in my hand, or give me a night's stay with me and my children. So some people find it easier just to jump off the bridge, or drive the lady one time with her children in the car and drive overboard
Yes.
Because I feel like there's no one, and that's a sad predicament in our community. We were once loving, caring people that if people was hungry, we would find help for them.
Yes.
And we would, so the community has changed. Then you look at, of course, the crime wave. And if you look at it, Professor and Ms. Cartwright, we have numbers. If you have 100 murders a year, that means that's 100 families affected. And each family in the Bahamas, if we talk about it, I'm connected, you're connected to, like you said, 1,000, 2,000 people, just family, cousins, co-workers, friends of the family. So you have a lot of grieving people in this country over the last 10 years who have unresolved grief and pain, mothers who are grieving, fathers, children who have grown up grieving. We have a hurting nation. It's not like what it was 40, 50 years ago, Professor.
Yes.
We have a nation that's grieving from crime and loss of loved one, and feeling unsecured in a lot of places. They don't have that community with church. Many don't even go to church. You talk to some young people, 30 and beneath, they are not involved in church. When we were growing up, we were in boys' brigades or scouts or youth meetings or Bible study, Sunday night service. And if you didn't go, there was a Sunday service you went to or Sabbath service. The community was well knit. People worked together, lived together in communities. And then mama didn't have it next door, you could borrow a tin of can or something from next door. Someone had some bag of fish they brought in, they shared it. It was a different community. Today, it is isolated and cold. And if people do not get the help, they feel like there's nowhere to turn.
Yes.
And so we are seeing an increased amount of depression, number one. 2, substance abuse. 3, socioeconomic isolation. 4, relational problems. A lot of people are in relationships that are toxic and abusive.
Yes.
And they instead of, they feel no way to get out, they want to end their life, sometimes taking out their spouse as well, or their children. Okay. And so we have a community that's in this condition. And Bahamians, I agree, we're not this type of people. They were praying people. But the Bible said the last days they'll be what? Wiser but weaker. That's what my grandfather used to say. And so we have a generation that wise, sharp, AI, technology, all the latest things, but emotionally can't tolerate what you and mommy and Grammy them went through raising 9, 10 children. 1 child, and they can't manage 2 children, and it's overwhelming to live and to function. And so these are the things we have to look out for as our brothers keepers, to look and to listen when people say, man, I'm tired of life. I'm ready to give up. I'm ready to. The Bahamians are reactionary. We need to hear. And I call upon the church and every civic organization. When you hear people saying that, get them to, we don't like to talk about psychiatrists and primary care doctors, psychologists, because we just feel, and you're right, Professor, some things can be dealt with prayer, but some things need to be dealt with counseling. Some things need to be done getting a woman who's being abused out of that abusive house.
Yes.
A child that is being raped and tormented out of that home. Some people need medication to help them sleep or to deal with that depression or that psychosis, that hallucination, that delusion. Some people need to be an inpatient to deal with the substance abuse. See, the gospel is holistic. And the church need to realize, and believers and everyone, it's not easy. I might be able to just get over it. Somebody might need hospitalization. They might need some time in a drug rehab program.
Right.
They might need time.
Yes. We're going to have to go to a break. Good to hear you, and I'm going to bring the card right on when we come back from the break. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. My special guest, Dr. Colley, who's a psychiatrist, and also our brother Cartwright, who is here regularly every Thursday and every Friday. We are pleased to have both of them on today. We have some very serious problems, Bahamian. the society has changed, as Dr. Colley has told us, and that is true. And people feel isolated. We are so individualistic in the country today. We have to do something about that. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break.
On 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. Today we're talking about suicide in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I found it rather difficult to understand this subject because I was looking very deep among my own family members to see if I could find any evidence. I can't find any evidence. I know the children like eat plenty, and so you got to feed them, right? And also we have responsible parenting. I know my mother and father had 9 of us plus 3 grandchildren. That's a total of 12. And they did an excellent job in rearing those 12 children. And as Dr. Colley said, people have difficulty just rearing one, much less if they have more than one. That's trouble for them. And things have changed. I realize that things have changed. But even back then, and let me just say this before I bring Brother Cartwright on, we didn't have much, but Daddy and Mommy would always tell you, see them people things over there, don't touch that. That ain't yours. You don't know how they got it? And I remember that right up to this very day as I talk to you right now. That stayed with me as a child. I remembered when we would go window shopping, we would just look at the things through the window on Bay Street and also on Shirley Street when they had the shops decorated. but we didn't have the money to buy. And so Daddy would just carry us out in the car and we would do window shopping. They never bought any guns for us. 6 boys in the family. Well, a total of 9 boys and 3 girls. That's a total of 12. No guns, no toy guns. My father was very, very strong about that. So we never saw anything. All right? The thing is that, yes, things have changed. We've had many influences from the outside. We don't seem to want to stand for anything. I remember when we had to go to church, Daddy would make sure, tell you now, listen, I want to see you there. And you had to be there. No ifs, no ands, no buts, because he was there also. Now today, even in our church, my pastor would tell me, make sure you don't miss 2 or 3 services back to back. Because I remembered one Sabbath I was very exhausted. And I called my sister and told her I wasn't going to church. But the very next Sabbath I was right there. And of course, when this Sabbath rolls in, I'll be going again. But I've always had that leaning towards Scripture, being read by parents who believe in the Scriptures, church family members believing in the Scriptures. Okay, but that kind of has disintegrated. I could never say anything against a school teacher. Don't even talk about being a principal, which was headmasters back then. You couldn't say anything against them. I could never tell mommy and daddy anything against my aunts or my uncles, because they'll tell you one single thing. If you wasn't there, your name would not have been called. That was true. Your name would be called. It didn't that they made up stories on you. Of course, I hear them say now today, and Dr. Colley could speak to this when he comes back on, about listening to the children. And you should not just, tell them to sit down, shut up, they people in the house, that kind of thing. Yes, things have changed because we got even grandfathers molesting the children. And that caused problems. How could that happen? Where did that come from? That's what not so in my day when I was growing up. Mothers and fathers looked after the children. There was that community type spirit among the people. But we seem to have lost that. Brother Cartwright.
Yes, Professor, and I'm listening to Dr. Colley. I was saying to you off air, yes. I remember I had a former co-worker who I worked with, was always a jovial guy, never expected, was married, had a family, and then one day he just took his life. And that put me in a state of mind to reflect. And then what I noticed too in our country is that as time moved on, you kept hearing the simple things such as persons would say, I will not raise my child like the way my parents and grandparents.
Right. Yes.
And I used to say to people, listen, you don't have to be abusive.
No, you don't.
But you can bring in a form of discipline. And when you look at it, we now have these smartphones.
Yes.
And today, when I was growing up as a child, I had to basically do my mathematics strictly from using my brain and from the book. Today, everything is basically just go to for an answer. And if you look around, and most people tell you on smartphones, you would find that people tend to send you the most graphic, most horrific stuff.
Yes.
Today. And mentally, it does be challenging because you're seeing where people send you people who've been gunned down.
Yes.
And it's like, what kind of individual is that going to take pictures of someone gruesome, brutally, and brutalized, and then send it to people and say, hey, man, see what happened to so-and-so.
Yes.
And I was like, where have we come from? We have moved away from, sometimes I always say that being involved globally can be good, but it also can cause you to lose your identity as who you are as a grouping of people.
Yes.
And if you look at it, we've had over in the last 10, 15 years, and more since COVID-19.
Yes.
Because someone said something to me and I never paid attention. He said, before COVID, families were basically living in the same home.
Yes, they were.
But did not even knew each other like that.
That's correct, yes.
He said, when that shutdown came and the whole world had to stop, him and started to look around and was like, wow, I'm married these are my children.
That's right.
And it just triggered off something. And so you found that people did not have, it challenged the brought up seat that they thought structure they had.
Yes.
And they didn't have answers. So you found that some people, men, were going out and staying at the mall later and just drink themselves.
Exactly.
Women were mad and they were like, go and see their answers into other men or whatever.
Yes.
And so you had all of these things, and then you had the kids who were being stuck at home, whereby they're hurting and trying to look for help, and they weren't getting it. And as you said, with the schools,
yes,
we now seeing whereby that teachers are now afraid to teach.
That is correct.
And you have some teachers are also predators on those charges that they're responsible for between those hours of 9 and 3. And so all of these things, and then you look at the big two pictures. We have the religious sector, which is now also joined that fray of preying on those less fortunate. And then you look at the political side of it, whereby that you have those who sit in power.
In power, yes.
Not doing things to combat or help those who are in need of help.
That is
because
correct.
if you look around in this country right now, we've never seen this much homelessness in the Bahamas.
Yeah,
ever.
Brother Hanchel had talked about that
And so
several times.
Yes. And so when you see all of these things, not everybody is mentally tough. What I can go through mentally might crush 100 people.
Yes.
Whereby that they will come along with something whereby that I mentally cannot handle it. But because of my upbringing and because of my beliefs, that has made me strong. And I tend to always tell people that at the end of the day, before I go to bed and close my eyes, I always give thanks to the Almighty and ask Him
you have
to give me strength.
Yes.
To deal with the things that I was able to handle today.
Yes.
But allow me to deal with it the next day or whenever. And so I've always hold on to that. And that is one of the things I say to people. But I don't know about Dr. Dr. Colley experienced those things. Yes.
I got a question for him too. Do we have a caller, Mr. Producer? Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Professor.
Yeah, go ahead.
Bahamas are still going into Haiti.
Bahamas is still going into Haiti. Okay.
I believe barbecue here in Grand Bahama.
Okay.
I've seen it.
Okay. Well, I think we're gonna have to put it off for another day. Yeah.
Yes, we'll let you up tomorrow.
Caller, open line Friday.
Yes, tomorrow.
Friday.
Yes.
Well, bring that up tomorrow. We're talking about suicide now because this is a subject that I have some challenges with. And I think Dr. Colley is going to try and make me understand some things perhaps I didn't see. He's mentioned a number of things, but Dr. Colley, I want you to tell me whether there's any connection between murders and suicides and homelessness, because we seem to have a combination of problems that are affecting the behavior of people. And then the trust factor. If I can tell you from 55 years experience, people have told me some things I can't even mention them. They said them in confidence. But what I do is I pray and ask God to forget about it. And that's how I've been able to do it, because they don't want to hear those things again if they tell you something in strict confidence, because they are very personal and very private.
Yes.
Dr. Colley, what do you say?
I totally agree with you. And Mr. Cartwright, it's a very, very vicious cycle. You have, on one hand, like you said, it's a governmental, not political, a governmental issue to protect its citizens.
Yes.
We need to have, more aggressive social service working to protect the vulnerable, the children, the handicapped from being abused and violated. When they don't have that there, they go to a church. And if you look at this country, you will have 1 out of probably 20 who's been abused in the church by some choir leader who molested them, some priest, some pastor, some minister who has abused them either sexually, physically, emotionally, financially. And so when they can't find hope or trust and confidentiality there, of course, homelessness, people who are homeless were pushed out, weren't given a chance. Or sometimes they were working well, got into a crisis in life, couldn't find a supporter, ended up on alcohol or drugs and lost everything. So yeah, it's a vicious cycle of substance abuse, homelessness, lack of support from the community or home or even families. You know, I was reading a scripture just this week where Paul told the church to take care of widows, but he said something interesting. He said, do not take in the widows under a certain age. Let their families, and if they have a relative who's able to, let those relatives take care of those widows and provide for them, not the church. So it means if it's certain people, widows and orphans, that the family members should step up to the plate and help to groom and raise and provide for. Now, when you look at murder, of course, murder is a very vicious thing. People are, we have a generation that is being groomed not by the word of God, not by parents' instructions, not by pouring into, being poured into every day in the home. They're being raised by tablets and rap stars and reggae stars who are poisoning. I mean, the filth that I'm hearing on these, I don't listen to it. I don't subscribe to listen to it because the Bible says, as a man, Jesus said, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he.
Yes.
And so I don't sit down and listen to this nonsense. These things tell you how to kill and to shoot and to destroy yourselves, how to take drugs. They talk about sipping on syrup and smoking Molly and drinking Coke and doing syrup and doing tablets and Valium. They tell people in these songs how to take drugs, how to abuse drugs, how to abuse women, how to call between a woman's leg and a man's leg, and all kind of bedroom business. And this is what's being propagated on the radio stations. And I'm concerned. So people like me in the healthcare, and also a minister of the gospel, is concerned we have these type of things playing on our national stations, and we expect to bring about change, because this is what they're hearing 24/7: how to kill, how to shoot, how to destroy, how to have 10 women, how to treat women like B's and H's. And now the women, we have some women rappers and singers and reggae stars now who telling the girls, have as many men as you want to pay for your hair, your nails, your car, and let them pay for it. You're the baddest B, you're the baddest H. I don't want to say it on the, you're the baddest woman. You do whatever you got to do to get ahead and this is the filth. And so we have a generation that does not honor God, has no God consciousness, has no biblical foundation. Many of them, there are some who are doing really good, but generally this is what they're being groomed. And as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So the devil has been reprogramming a generation and a nation. So a small nation like ours, we're competing. So they go to school, and anyone walk across them, they're ready to pull a gun out and shoot and kill them. There's no more fear of death. And then you see every day dead bodies pass across social media. I'm a physician, and I don't like to just see dead bodies because I work to keep people alive. But we have become desensitized to death, that people could walk across a body and don't care. So it takes them nothing to take a gun and kill somebody or kill themselves, because it doesn't mean anything. We had a sacred respect for life and death, and that line has been crossed. And I'm told, and I've studies to prove, that once people have seen all of the video games, all of the movies, all of the things on television, by the time a child reaches 18, they've seen more than 10,000 murders from television, from games, from video games, and heard it on the radio. So they're desensitized to murder. So it takes nothing for them. And I've been researched and seen that once a person takes one life, that barrier is crossed. They call it a rush, an adrenal rush. Once someone is killed once before, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth becomes easier. That's why we have some serial murderers out there. They have already taken life. They've crossed the line. And so they could kill themselves or others and don't think twice about it. We have created this, and we have a long working path with the strength of the Lord to restore it. And we need to start with a church on every corner. Get out of these churches, man. People on it. You have a big church in every corner, and the ghetto is around you, and you have not affected that area in 50 years, 100 years. How could a church be in an area? I know from the healthcare perspective, we only can manage people when they come to us. When they come to us, the healthcare, the doctors and the nurses and the community psychologists are working hard, but we need the whole country involved. We need to stop what's coming on our airways. Somebody needs to speak up. We need to stop what movies they're allowing to come in. They had a big concert the other day. They brought that reggae singer who is a murderer and a killer.
Yes.
And we brought him in, and the stadium was packed out. And I was ashamed to see some Christian reporters interviewing the man. I want them called me. And they interviewed him as part of promoting. They were promoting that murderous killer who was locked up, a few of them, and had big concerts and sold it to the Bahamian public. And then we wonder, we talk one thing with our mouth, and then we want church, the church on Sunday, but through the week, the same people promoting these murderers and killers on the radio and on television, and wondering why we have a nation of young people who idolize murder and suicide and death. They have a preoccupation with death. And we are in a crisis mode.
Dr. Colley, very strong. And I'm beginning to understand a little bit more clearly why we have these systems in the Bahamas.
Yes.
I didn't see it in this line, but the lines are open 260-272, 813-0271. We have Dr. Colley in Freeport, and we have Brother Cartwright right here in the province. Brother Cartwright.
Yes, if you look at it, like for instance, he is in Grand Bahama. And when you look at the island of Grand Bahama, you think about what is happening to the island itself economically.
Yes.
Then you look at the island healthcare service. And so all of these things impacting. And then you look around the other islands, same things happening.
Yes.
Because, you know, all of my life I knew going and visiting and spending time with my grandmother, because my grandfather died when I was very young. And I was shocked one time when I found out they had people in Long Island committed suicide. I was like, all these years people have been living on this rock. You mean to tell me that people could not find seek help?
Yes.
And as he said, that as time evolved, you look around just about every family island in the Bahamas. You had someone who took their own life because they could not find help. And I always say, like I said, we now become more Americanized in our lifestyle. We adopted many of our Caribbean brothers culture of handling problems.
Yes, that is correct.
Where we used to was the gold standard way you live your life, how you took care of your family, community, everything. All of that structure is scary because young men like you and others who have been around longer than us, younger men, and to see now when you all move off the scene and we move off the scene, this gap we're trying to now, as I would tell people, like, it was an old story that you put a thing in the wall from the flood coming from the other side. Exactly. Once you move that finger, it will become a flood. And so have this big gap whereby that the generation, and it's one of the things I used to tell people that growing up, I remember that in public schools, there were such things as tree, where they teach you how to work with your hands, so your mind was occupied. Today, there is a void.
Big boy.
You find when kids go to school and ask somebody else, what y'all do today? They say, oh, I say, y'all do woodwork? They say, woodwork, what that is? I said, well, you know, that's where you're going to learn skills. I said, no. We wait till we get to go to BTV. And I was like, that's a couple of years down the road. You need to learn how to do things now. I was sitting down and observing this being now what they call the political season.
Yes.
And I was like, all of the things that happen in these communities, why haven't we not time out to get the community involved? Such as you've got the schools. We should have this community basically be in the backstop whereby that they can go into the school, talk about their experiences with the young students, saying, hey, if I follow this path right, there's opportunities there for me. Then if you come to the repairs of the school, these are things where you got to basically get involved with. Like you said with the church.
Yes,
it's all of them. Everyone comes together. You know, and I told someone that I was going to the food store. Lady stopped and said, just mention this, ma'am. She said, your church, you go to the church on Market Street on the corner. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, when you all open back up, well, we're doing something right now. So she said, man, I have nowhere to go. There are other places. And I recommended to one through the corner by me. And so I said to someone else, I was a city, I would be doing now more of Aspire. We gather all the entities that are in the communities and sit down with them and say, yes, so we can just on a monthly basis. This month is your month, the next month, and we all come together.
Right.
Then you come together, it's a village to raise a child.
Yes.
Right. What happened is now, the child said, I don't do this, I have my own mind.
Wow.
This problem. When the problems arise, they don't know how to solve the problem. They're stuck like a deer in headlights. And so the only thing they do is what we call crash and burn. And that's basically in simple terms becomes suicidal.
That is very, very serious.
It's very sad.
Yes. Dr. Colley?
Yes, sir.
Dr. Colley?
Yes, sir, Professor. What if, I just love what you just said, both of you. What if, and I don't want it to seem like it's impossible to manage. What if we got the Christian Council to send out a notice that every week one church opens up from 10 to 3 in the midday? This is when people are hurting and in pain and suicidal and depressed. Not on Sunday. Everyone is dressed up on Sunday. It is Monday to Saturday. We have enough churches that in each area, the Christian Council Church leader, I call on Bishop Fernanda to call all of them and to be open up through the week so that I know some are open up, but let everyone open up in each constituency, even if not only to feed food, to have a counseling session, to have a prayer, to have support for if someone needs to. And you know what happened to me about 16 years ago? I came out from work one day and I had a long, hard day in Freeport, and I was looking around to find a church fresh in the midday in prayer, and I could find no place.
Yes.
And so that encouraged me to be mindful. And in those earlier years, I got a team together and had a place open up that I told the community they could have gone to get support and prayer.
Yeah, definitely.
What if we could do that now again?
I think that we
can. Are you there?
Yes. Yeah, we are here. I'm going to comment on that right now. Yes, we can do that because we have too many problems with our young men in the sign. In fact, I spoke to a young one just yesterday, and he was looking to do some work. He said he wants to do landscaping, and then I gave him a job. Hopefully he'll start today if we have good weather. But then the point is he's at the age of 20, and he wants to do something with his life. I had a conversation with him, and he lives right in my area, but he was also on the other side, being in Grantstown, but he's now in Fort Castle, which is a part of Centerville. So I think we need to look at opening up the churches for prayer, opening up the churches for Bible studies. We have to have more Bible studies. I believe we have disconnected ourselves from God. We have disconnected ourselves from the Holy Bible. I said in my family, the Holy Bible is always there. Mommy and Daddy would insist that you be in church. And even now, as young as I am, I find myself going there every single week. And Pastor will tell you, don't miss 2 or 3 Sabbaths. Be there. If you miss one, I was exhausted one Sabbath. I made sure God did the next Sabbath, and the Sabbath, of course, this Sabbath coming up. But the point is that we have to get that spiritual connection to our lives. The physical is fine. That's important. That has its place. But our spiritual connection needs to be charged up again. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. I'm trying to understand this issue about suicide. And I say Bahamians don't commit no suicide. It have to be them other people. It could not be. But I'm saying now that there are things that have changed in the country which have caused this particular problem. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. My special guest, Dr. Colley and Brother Cartwright. We'll be back after the break.
60272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. My special guest, Dr. Colley in Freeport, Brother Cartwright right here in the Providence. And I told Brother Cartwright the things we were talking off air. I tell him, man, you got to put that on here. And I'm going to bring Dr. Colley in. Brother Cartwright, go ahead.
Yes,
please.
like I was saying, professors, that when you look at the Bahamas at our constitution, it's unique. We have this in our constitution, it's a covenant between us as a people and our God.
That's right.
Where we said that we base our constitution and ruling of law on Christian values and spiritual. So when you look at all of those things, we bought and we believe in it because that's who we were culturally growing up. From you talk about 1729
Yes.
up into the early days after independence, we basically never veered from it.
That's right.
What happened was, as time went by, and those patriarchs and those who uphold those tablet of values that we knew as being Bahamian,
Yes.
we steadfast hold on to it. But when they started to move off the
scene, yeah.
Those who came after decided, well, we're going to tinker with this. So you found whereby that in days gone by, where mothers who were single mothers, whether their husband died or they raised their children by themselves, they made great productions out of their kids because their children are becoming good citizens.
Yeah.
Today, you find now single mothers have a heavy challenge.
Much heavy
like
challenge.
He said, just one child, and you
Just
see
one child, yes.
they on the brink. It's like a thread.
Yes.
One cut in that thread disintegrates. And
Yes.
so all of the things that people look forward to, because here's the thing I always say to people, that we vote for a administration and we put people in our parliament to benefit our lives, not only physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Yes.
If the people that we send to our parliament to make our lives better are not into spiritually, are not trying to make your life better physically, and is not trying to make your life better mentally, and you combine it all economically, you're leaving the citizens to actually like thorns growing wild.
Yeah, that's correct.
And so
yes.
you find your country is now adopting cultures that is not the norm as a Bahamian culture.
Exactly. I think, Brother Cartwright, we have a call on
Yes.
the line before we get to Dr. Colley. Colley, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, good afternoon, Professor.
Yeah,
Hey, brother.
what you say? Hey, how are you?
Okay, and good afternoon to the guests, and good afternoon, Bahamas.
Yes.
Professor, we talking suicide here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's the topic for today.
Okay, Professor.
This is one that I had difficulty with, and I'm happy Dr. Colley and Brother Cartwright is helping me to understand it, because I found it very, very difficult to believe that Bahamians would commit suicide. We had the Holy Bible in our house from before I was born, man.
I understand.
And anyone who believes in the Bible, you know if you commit suicide, you're going straight in the lake of fire, because you can't repent of it. Go ahead, Colley.
And Professor, Professor, you know the most popular church. I know you go to other church before we start, when we grow up. When I start going to 7 we used to go to the Catholic. And you know the Catholic say, only two things. You're going to bust prayer let it open. Blaspheming the Most High God name and suicide.
Yes.
They say, you know, break for you. That's it. But they really do us bad in a young time.
Yeah,
But
okay.
Professor, listen here, man.
Yes, sir.
I can go with this. If we can do research, right? When the gentleman come on to who talking to your doctor or professor on, we guys do research. The time now, okay, this is 2025, okay? Yes. What the thing of that? Anyone they smoking weed? They take any kind of thing up. When you're doing research, when I was a kid, when I was a young boy, I been up to the they take us on a school trip. I forget what school I was in, but we been up to the school trip to the police college. That mean up to the police head office.
Okay.
Them days, dress up. They used to take a cigarette butt and put it on spinning thing. And man, they could tell you what all kind of DNA on that, what kind of thing on that. So listen to me. I wonder if this generation a weak generation or this a wise generation. All these different things you bring in to put in the human body. Now I just want you to ask the thing up. At the days now, 2025, 11. what we've been taking in our body that will cause people with suicide. Because them days, out of days, nobody's be thinking about this. They say it was in no one mind. It isn't just the weed they smoke it, or it isn't the drug they take it, or it is what kind of drug they take would cause you to think about suicide.
That's an excellent question, but Dr.
Put that to him, and I gone on that one.
Okay.
But I can't really got to interrupt you to let Dr.
Yes,
Collins.
Yes, Professor, and your listening audience. I heard that question. Very true. We know that mental health is just not having a mental breakdown, but is maintaining your mental capacity, your ability to think, to analyze, to function, to process information, to do normal function as a human at whatever level you are, a child, middle age, or even professor as young as you are, still with the sharpness of mental capacity. And of course, that is affected by the environment. Yes, we have toxins in our environment now, lead and metal, heavy metal and mercury, and all types of toxins now are in the food that are affecting the mental health of people worldwide. And so you want to eat healthier. You want to eat more organic food, fresh food from like mommy them back in the day, fish, Grammy them, grandpa them, out the field, and healthy food. That is correct. The foods we're eating now, you have to watch the labels, because these big corporations are pumping things into the food, and the fast food joints are pumping stuff into these things, hormones that are causing not only cancers, but affecting the mental health. And we're not getting the nutrition. Children are not getting the nutrition from these chips and candy and chicken in the bag. Sorry to say it. And they're not functioning mentally as sharp as they could if they were eating healthy fruits and vegetables and raw fruits and vegetables and getting proper exercise and getting proper rest. The second portion is, yes, the drugs we do know, the marijuana we do know is more potent today than 30 years ago. They are genetically engineering it. They are making it more toxic. And so they have more what is called THC in it. That's the chemical that causes the mental destruction. And it is at a higher concentration. It might have been 2 to 5% back then. People could have smoked a marijuana joint and not get high. Today, they are tripping on one use. I've seen it over the last 20 plus years. Young men are tripping out on BDs, Black and Mild. These are some things they smoke. The marijuana joint, they say they lace it, but it's just the marijuana toxic strains. There are hundreds of strains, and they're making them very toxic. And they are becoming more toxic now, and people are losing their mental capacity from smoking just one joint. Now, Professor, let me say this to you and the listening audience and guests. 20 years in the field, I want to let you know that when I worked in hospital, we would see more than 5 to 6 attempted suicide per week. And that's Grand Bahama. I know in Nassau, my colleagues will tell you the numbers are probably double that. So over the last 10, 15 years, there are hundreds of attempted suicides reported. And you can get this information from the hospital or the medical records. Those who are doing research, they will tell you this is not a new trend. This has been for the last 15 to 20 years. We only see more of it. Maybe the news picks up certain cases and highlight it, but this was a common condition while I worked in hospital inpatient. This was a regular occurrence. Kids would come in with attempted suicide by trying to cut their wrists or cutting up their arms, overdosing on over-the-counter prescription, overdosing on whatever medication they would get, okay? Or if they were on a prescription medication for depression or psychosis, they'd try to overdose that. This is not a new thing. This is 20 years. I've experienced it strongly. And so the numbers doesn't reflect the amount. Now, we only hear about the completed ones. The studies show that men complete suicide more than women. Women attempt more, but men are more successful, because when a man wants to take his life, they're going to blow their brain out, cut their wrist, or overdose to end it. A woman, when they do it, is usually attention seeking, we call it. They do things, cut up or take some tablets and get to the hospital as they cry out for help. Okay. And so this is what's happening. And I agree with you, Professor. It's not Bahamian. This is being influenced by television, what they see on radio, television, and the cultures that are coming in, the things that are coming in on radio and television that makes them feel North American. This is not the cultural, foundational Bahamians who grew up with Christian values that know that's right. If you kill yourself, you're going to hell. If you even hurt yourself, you're going to hell. You have a generation that's piercing up themselves, tattooing them up themselves, drinking, smoking, living life carelessly without God, and they're not afraid of death and dying and suicide. And it's a common thing now. People have songs. There's a popular song out called Anxiety that people laugh at, and a lot of young people could identify. It's a hit song talking about anxiety and depression and psychosis. And young people relate to this. They are feeling this, and they're cutting themselves, and they're crying out for help. And the schools are working hard, and the guidance council have to pick out. Let me give you some pointers before I close. And I know you have to move on. Young people, when they're depressed and suicidal, you want to look at children who are not functioning in school. They're sad. They're unkept. They're not dressed properly. They're not interacting with their colleagues. Their work is not complete. You have to look out for your students and teachers. Look out for those things, guidance counselors, and even young people listening to this. Look out for your friends. If they say they're being abused at home or hurting, or they're being raped, or they're being tormented, or their personality changed, they probably are depressed, and that could lead to suicide. They're anxious, they're jittery, they're sleeping more or less, eating more or less. These are some of the same signs in adults. When an adult is depressed, they will eat more, eat less, drink more, drink less. They're sleepy, they're tired, they're fatigued. That lady doesn't fix up her hair and put on makeup like she used to. That man doesn't want to go out and play basketball or hang out with his friends or, socialize. You see, they're losing weight. They're being unkept. These are signs that we need to pick up. And the symptoms are when people tell you, I feel depressed, I feel sad, I want to end it on, man, I'm tired of living, man, I just want to go home. These are things you got to listen out to. They're not just casual words. And some people go on to even writing and leaving a letter. Or if they start putting things in place, saying, oh man, I can put my finances in place. And I try to make sure things, if anything happened to me, they might be preparing to kill themselves. They're putting their finances in place. They're telling people, I love you. I'll see you later. I'll talk to you later. They could be very well planning and preparing. There are signs and symptoms usually that lead up to those events.
Well, Dr. Colley, I really appreciate that information.
And so this is what can we do to help?
Is he still there?
Hello?
Go ahead, Dr. Colley.
The voice.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you clearly.
All right, what can we do? We need to pray. Like you said, get back to God, get back to faith, get back to church. Secondly, we need to listen. Listen and pay good attention. We need to build community. Get back to people who could trust us when they're hurting and we're in pain, and we can take them to people to get help. Sometimes it might take a friend, a sister, brother, taking them to the emergency room if they're suicidal, taking them to a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a social worker, helping those people. Don't just brush it off. Don't think they can just cope with it. Get them the help. And the help means they might have to see a psychiatrist. We have to remove the stigma that you're crazy. Excuse me. If you go to see a psychiatrist, no, you're depressed. You're anxious. You're not sleeping. You're losing weight. You're hearing voices now. You're seeing things. You're hooked on a drug that you cannot get off. And you need the help. Your marriage is crumbling. You lost your job. Or even a gambling addiction. We have a big gambling addiction. That's another story. People commit suicide when they gamble out all their money and they lose their car, their house, and the bank is calling and they see no way out. All right. So all of these things, but we can get the help. And people who have in the past been on drugs are better now. People who were depressed are off medication. People who had an acute, sudden short phase of suicidal thoughts are much better now. I've seen thousands of them, and my colleagues have too. There are people who are lawyers, doctors, accountants, every aspect of society, police, teachers, construction workers who have had problems and got the help, and now they are functioning well. I want to end on this part here too. If we are a country of 70% Christian, I just made a note here. Can you imagine if 10,000 people out of all that 70%, 10,000 people just encourage one person a day for a month?
Yes.
That's 300,000 people in 1 month. Wouldn't we change this country around in 1 month?
Yes.
Yes, you can.
10,000 people spoke to one person, helped one person a day with life and life concern, maybe helping a single mother. And these mothers, I could understand why they're angry and bitter. Because here it is, they're a woman. I'm not blaming all went right. Some knew what they were doing.
Yes.
But they were promised by, some of them were promised by some man who left them high and dry and broken. And now this man driving around town, sweetheart or his new wife, and that woman has 2-3 children to raise on her own, and he wouldn't even send $1. This is the type of thing that's going on. So what that woman supposed to do? All right, and she had 1 or 2 before this man comes, so she had one woman with 5 children. This is a common thing. And the hurt and the pain is the man driving around, eating, drinking, and doing well. Shame on you, man. Shame. We as men, I believe, Professor and Brother Cartwright, we as men, that's not my situation, but I'm saying from a man to a woman, we need to apologize to the women and the children. We've hurt this country. We've broken the women. We've broken the children. We have been absent of their lives. We only come when they graduate and say, my good son, we got to stop this foolishness, like you said, Professor. We got to stop this nonsense.
I agree.
And the women are hurt and broken because the men have broken them one after the other and left them broken and hurting and hopeless. And so that woman spent all of her life and energy trying to get those children through life. And they're tired.
Yes.
All right, but we need to be our brother's keeper. The man of this country, we are responsible. We are the head, we're the foundation, and we have broken the family, we've broken the homes. And now if you've moved on, man, I'm not blaming man to say you're only responsible, but go and get your nephews, go and get your nieces, go get your son that you haven't called in 5 years, 10 years. I'm speaking to someone because it's too common. And I see these young men and they're broken and they don't care about life because daddy didn't care about me. So why would I care about life? Mother struggled all my life. That's the hell they live in all their lives. So they have no problem with taking a gun and blowing away someone else's head. Huh? Yeah. They have no problem with joining a gang where they feel love and safe, and the gang fella giving them food and money and shelter and comfort. And then when that gang man tells him go and kill someone for $400 or $500, that guy wouldn't think twice about it because that's their family. And we have a big church family and community, and we're not doing enough. Because if 10,000 of us, I'd say 1,000 of us would reach out to 2 people a day and buy them lunch and feed them and just call them. Call somebody. Not in a homosexual way, excuse my expression. We need, young men are looking for men who will call them and be fathers and love them and care for them without abusing them and raping them and molesting them.
Yes.
Women are looking. That's why the women are turning to other sides. Because why? They have women, when they're broken, they're taking advantage of them. We have too many people taking advantage of the vulnerable and the less fortunate. And I'm sick and tired of it. As a physician, as a citizen, as a human, and as a man of God, we have too much abuse of the less fortunate. They prey on the vulnerable. It was happening from my days in high school. The coaches were molesting the young girls from back then because the parents thought they were giving the children something to run track and field. And almost all the coaches have molested the children in this country. Almost all, not all. The priest, the youth minister, almost all have touched up the young. And so there's no safe place in this country, man. And so people are hopeless. That's why we're having these high rates and reported. Because you go to the school, the coach molested you. You go to the teacher sleeping with the young children. You go to the church, the youth minister or the deacon or the pastor molesting with you. You go in the community, you gotta they pushing drugs to you or gangs. Huh? Where can you go in this country to have, as young people, to have a safe place where I could grow and develop and be around true men and true women who would raise you up to be something, and you don't have to go through the scars of abuse or molestation in the process. And that's the sad state of this country we're seeing every day. And you know who see it? The doctors, the police, and the teachers see and know all that's going on in this country every day, because these people come to us and we know the real happen. The country is in a critical state. And if we don't turn this around, we're gonna have a nation of broken people. But God can turn it around. But He's gonna need some serious people to love people, to care for them, to nurture them back to health. And it seems like it's only a handful of people doing it, man.
No, we gotta extend that. If we say enough to extend it. I think my producer, do we have a call on the line, Mr. Producer? Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hi, Professor. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm sorry about the delay, but when Dr. Colley started going, he had a whole lot. He's getting me to understand about the suicide thing, because I had a serious problem trying to understand why. But I'm happy that he's on air today. Go ahead, caller.
That doctor is so sweet. I can listen to him all day.
Yeah, I got fascinated.
He blends science and spirituality together.
That's wonderful. Yes.
Yeah, he's a doctor. He's a doctor. He's into science, and still he's grounded. Let me tell you something, Professor. I've been calling you now for about 2 years, and I told you my issue is.
Yes.
And in the Bahamas, you can't get one right. Okay.
Yes.
I have a case in court right now. I wouldn't go into it. I know about your issue. I mean, I know about the earthquake and all that kind of stuff. I have a case in court, and I had to go to the courts, and it's the most miserable place in the world you want to go to. But the point is, Professor, you're supposed to go there for results and justice, eh?
That's correct. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's right.
Justice delayed, justice denied.
Right.
Let me tell you, they got so many crooked people at that place called court. Oh my Lord, I'm scared. The last person I have to see now is the judge. And I just hope the judge is honest and fair. I can win my case. But everyone from the minute I walked into that place, first of all, first I went to lawyers.
Yes.
Everybody will talk about the situation we have in the Bahamas right now. We have the lawyers. We have none. Even Jesus, I said this to you before. Jesus said, woe unto the lawyers.
Yeah, that's why I told people they need to look at what Jesus had to say about the attorneys and the lawyers in this, in his day. And of course, it hasn't changed at all from that day right on up to now. It's
change a bit.
Yeah, it hasn't. Yeah, go ahead.
Every time you see a lawyer, sorry?
Yeah, go ahead, caller. Go ahead.
Every time you see a lawyer, you got to go into your pocket just to say hello. You charge your $5 for that. But anyway, I wanted to say, I finally got my case. I finally got my case to before a judge. But when I went to the courts, I'm reading American law. American law says that to serve a summons, all you need is someone who is a responsible person. That means you can't be mentally unfit. All you need is a responsible person to go to the court and deliver the summons for you. And I get to my point right now based on suicide and all this stuff. Basically, all you need is a mentally fit person who is not involved in the case. Do you know at our courts over here, all you pay is $10 to get your summons, you come back and pick it up in 3 days, or 3 working days they ask you. But once you get that, oh my God, that's when the hell starts. And everybody in between the time you see this judge trying to get into your pocket, trying to see how much you sue them for and how much they can get out of it. And they're trying to sell you to a lawyer so they can pick your pocket through that. It's a corrupt system. And let me tell you, I'll bring it to the point. When people can't find justice, they go to the church looking for it. They go to the courts looking for it. They go to immigrations looking for it. You know what the last thing is? Your topic today. No hope. People feel desperate. And you know, come on, man. Let me tell you something. You know that thing I'm telling you, the thing about the pension thing for 7-year guys? Telling you, if Lyndon Baines is not your president or prime minister next year, I will turn my back on this Bahamas so quick you wouldn't believe me. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for your contribution. Brother Cartwright.
Yeah, man. I was just looking at a couple of these Facebook chats.
Yeah.
He had Sandra Carey was saying, Professor, he should do, according to the gentleman who was saying that he was looking for work, he should do landscaping for himself. Because she said she know a lady that has Haitians working, but she hasn't said she can't find Bahamians. Then
I'll let you finish. Yeah, go ahead.
Then you have Timmy Woe saying, good afternoon, Mr. Thompson. And yes, 60% of the churches in Nassau can collect tithes and offering 2 Sundays in a month and bring the funds together and create a development fund and use the funds in the constituencies to do community developments and projects and use the funds to upgrade things in the constituencies that hasn't been touched in years. Okay. The church needs to be more involved in the community financially instead of just collecting tithes and offering. And this one person now wants me to read some, but I'll read it just before we go off air.
Okay. All right.
You know, but then you think about it. These are the things that has basically put us in this predicament where we are today with now we seeing suicides. Because like you said, if you go back 30, 40 years, suicide was something, if it happened, probably maybe one every 2-3 years you would have seen
right.
it. And if you remember back in the day, we used to say with murders, if you see murders in this town, very small amount.
Yes.
We are now on a pace where we can basically for the last 10, almost 20 years, average a minimum of 100 murders.
100 murders every day.
Yeah. And that is sad.
That is very sad.
Okay, you got to call it there, producer. You got to call it there, professor.
Call you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, Professor.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, madam.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And the doctor, if he's still there.
Yeah, I think Dr. Colley is still online.
I want to say something. It goes back to what I mentioned yesterday. When these people are saying, but Bahamians don't want to work, I will tell you this. If I was the prime minister for a week, I will close down every business in that country. And if you can't find Bahamians to work, then nobody's going to work. Everything is going to close down. So if you want your business up, you go find them and you train them. And you get them to work. The gentleman yesterday, the contractor, he was threatened by Haitians on jobs that they would not allow him to do.
Okay.
In his country. So this excuse, they just don't hate the Haitians. A Haitian coming from Haiti making 50 cents? Yeah, he'll work for 75 cents. Because that's big money to him. The Haitians, the gentleman is working. This one guy, professor, was making $14 an hour. And his Indian boss telling him he's making too much money.
Okay.
What they expect from us in our country? We must be paupers in our rich country. And I want to say this to the Bahamian people, because it still hurts my heart about that lady down in Long Island. When you see these MPs come to your house You asked them 2 questions. Do we have a Haitian problem in this country? And is the Nationality Act an act? And is that lawful? And if they can't speak up on those 2 things, just tell them keep on moving. Vote them out. Nobody is saying nothing about this Nationality Act the government is using. You see the Haitian priest down in Andres yesterday? He making noise, but the Haitians who in those shanty towns have nowhere to go. They have no place to live. There's no apartments for rent. Well, they got somewhere to go. They could go home. And Professor, let me say this before I close. I was somebody who looked forward every year to getting crabs out of Andros. Summertime. I haven't eaten a crab off any of these islands in years because they're not sanitary anymore. You got all these people squatting through our bushes where our crabs used to be.
Yes, ma'am.
We don't know what they're eating now. So I don't even eat crabs anymore. Rice, soup, nothing. Because I don't trust where these crabs are now coming from. It's ridiculous.
Yes, ma'am.
And this Haitian Bishop Louis or whoever is it, let him pack himself up, and then he's going to threaten. Yesterday in his little remark, that the government may not need them today, but they will need them for their votes.
Yes, ma'am.
We want to send a message to this Bishop Louis and the rest of these Haitian folks. They're not allowed to vote in our elections.
That's right.
They don't seem to get the message. Now, Louis Georges is one of their advocates. He better get out and start telling them, including himself, that he's not allowed to vote in our elections.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you very much. I think we're going to go to a break again. I hear the music in the background. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. I understand Dr. Colley has already left. He's still on the air. Brother Cartwright is still here. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. We'll be back after the break.
809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. We have about 19 more minutes left in the show. The time is extremely short. The calls can come in 326-0272, 813-0271. We'll be talking about suicides with Dr. Colley out of Grand Bahama. He has already left. And I have a better understanding as to why I didn't see it among my own family members, because I was checking very diligently, looking through 7 generations. And now I'm beginning to see a little bit more clearly things having been changed. People do not believe in God. They don't go to church. They take no interest in spiritual matters. They wake up every day. God gives us every breath of air that we breathe. God is extremely patient with us, giving us every available opportunity to repent, to turn from our wicked ways. Some of us don't believe we have any wicked ways, but we do. God says even his own people have wicked ways. If God's people have wicked ways, what do you think about the children of the devil? The children of the devil have wicked ways as well. Only 2 sets of people in the world. Either you are a child of God or you're a child of the devil. One or the other. And I believe we have left our spiritual grounding, which is grounded in the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, to tell us what we have to do to preserve our freedoms. We haven't really done that. Unfortunately, the government of the Bahamas has not done a good job with that over the last 52 years. In fact, as far as I can see, nothing has ever been done in relation to those hardcore principles on which the nation was founded. And so we keep turning away from the things that would make us a better people, a better nation. The motto is forward, upward, onward, together. Now, in order for that to happen, there has to be unity, a national commitment to unity, national commitment to the rule of law, national commitment to Christian values, national commitment to spiritual values. And I believe we have lost a lot of that village composition where people looked out for each other on the ground in the communities where people live. And people may have had their differences of one thing or another, but they still were able to get on well with that. In fact, I was so appreciative of my mother and father, and for these young people today who don't see daddy, every day I saw a daddy. Every day I saw a mother. There was never a day mommy and daddy was not there. When we traveled with mommy. Went all over the place, all over the United States, England, France, not France, but Canada, all the way to the Middle East. Some of my family members went. But the point is they were there. They were busy. They were professional people. But they took time to spend with the family. And many young men today do not have that father image. So they're looking for that father image. And not like Dr. Colley mentioned about some funny things that are happening. And people are very distrustful. And I got to find out whether this is something that's being allowed in our educational system, some things that we cannot allow. When you look at our Constitution and the way we ought to be going, we've got to tell people we cannot take that crap into this nation. And I don't see that happening when I get the Minister of Education on. I got to talk to her about that. I don't see it happening. Because some funny things are happening in this country where I am seeing it more in the United States, where they're so bold and so brazen about it, even though the man told him it's only 2, male and female. Huh? That put a stop to a whole lot of things that are going over there because you had a strong man at the helm now in relation to that kind of volatile lifestyle. And now we have some people painting some funny things on the street and say they have a right to do it. Now you have some problems in the cities where these people are. There is an agenda being, a terrible agenda that some people want to push in on us That agenda is not godly. God does not approve of it, and he never will. And he say, they that do such things, there's only one thing you could do with them is you got to kill them, destroy them. You check Romans chapter 1. They are worthy of death. No ifs, no ands, no buts. I don't care how they pretty it up and talk foolishness and nonsense. Are we buying into this crap? I wonder why our children are so disoriented. We got people around who are doing these things in our schools, in our churches, in our families. I wonder why the place is all messed up. Brother Cartwright.
Yeah, Professor. The previous caller, I saw that clipping on another show about the stand that the Haitian pastor was saying. And I would like to say to him, because I don't think he understands what the Bahamas culture and what our constitution say to us. If you look at the articles in our citizenship, that pastor doesn't qualify as a Bahamian. And in my estimation, he has no grounds to speak on how my government behaves.
That's right.
Because he is not a citizen. And he talks about people paying for work permits and other stuff. And then he says that it's Bahamians. Okay, I will grant you, yes, Bahamians have been violating the law.
Of course they have.
But you are also complicit, and your people are also complicit, because they know that what they're doing is against the law. And if they allow themselves to be a part of someone breaking the law, then they are just as much as guilty.
That's right.
So I have don't want to hear no excuse from him. And then he goes on, but they have no place to stay. The last time I checked is that as a owner of property and rental property, the Constitution allows me as an individual to choose, or any individual to choose who they want to do business with. That's there for us. So for him to say, well, he can't find no place for his people, they looking for place, they asking people. The law cannot make any Bahamian who has a structure for rent to allow them, force them to rent to you or Haitian citizens. That is what we call that's his choice. That is their choice. If they don't want to rent to you, there ain't nothing you can do about it. The only thing you can do is to talk to your employer, and if your employer cannot help you find a reasonable place to stay, then you have to go home.
Right. That's right.
You cannot force yourself. And the goal of what upsets me with him was that he's like, we contribute to the Bahamian economy. We build. So it's like, you want us to now say, because you contribute. Last time I checked, they said anyone working in the Bahamas must pay contribution to NIB. Now, I agree that the government should set up a separate NIB funding for non-citizens, because you now becoming a taxing burden on our little system for us as the citizens. And for you to now bring in demand. See, the biggest thing I always said to people before when we came to these work permits and all this stuff.
Yes.
We've been doing the lackadaisic approach. For me, if you coming into the Bahamas and if you say you need workers, I'm going to ask you what field of workers you need. And then I put a limit on it.
Of course.
That's a cap. Now, if you can't deal with that, no problem. When they come here, they must train while they're here. One Bahamian over the 5 years, how long they're here for.
Right.
All of these things.
I can't read we have another call on the line. Caller, you're live on air. Go quickly, please.
Yes, good day, Professor.
Yeah.
Yeah, good day, good day.
Mr. Cartwright.
Yep.
Yeah, Brother
I
Cartwright.
just chimed in when the lady before Mr. Cartwright was saying that I think must have been some Haitian person saying they can't vote and the Haitians can't vote.
Yep.
They know that they should not be able to vote in our elections.
Yes.
Well, what we have here going on is that the government, and as high as the Prime Minister of this country is doing us a disservice because of what they're using as that Bahamas Nationality Act, which I'm going to say, the Bahamians, and you ought to do your reading. That document is an artifice. It's a clever or cunning device or expedient which is used to trick or deceive others. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because that was before the Independence Day and the Constitution we live under. And for the government and the Prime Minister of the day not to address it, and even allowing the Immigration Department to process these people, not only Haitians, whoever may try and apply to get citizenship, and like Brother Cartwright to say, is being complicit in breaking our laws, then they are basically insulting. And this really goes to the heart of those people who may be ordinary PLPs that vote for them. Just remember, this is your country, this is my country, this is our country. And if your leaders, who you all have there, are not adhering to the law and know what they're supposed to do, and they call themselves, or not call themselves, they qualify themselves as lawyers, and they're not doing what they're supposed to do, and they are running the country and just blatantly ignoring it. The word for that is effrontery. They are blatantly, that's EFFRONTERY, a blatant disregard for the laws.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah, but you know something, caller?
And it is also
let me say something to you quick, caller.
Allow Mr. Brother Cartwright to speak.
Stand strong.
Yeah, let me say this quickly to you, caller.
That's my contribution.
Yeah.
Y'all have a nice day.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you
got
very much.
39 members sits in our parliament. And I keep telling people the administration is one, but you have a majority from the administration and you have a majesty's opposition. They all come together and make up our parliament. And if they all sit down and do not come together and correct this problem, we'll always have this problem. Now, before I go back to Brother Colley, Dr. Colley, because I see we down to about 6 minutes. I see I've got 3 callers here, textbooks from the Facebook. I see I got D'Amico Bean. Hey, what's up, D'Amico? Then he says, the law needs to be amended to make a requirement that all work permit holders must have legal housing and health insurance. Professor, I read this. Someone sent out a notice, and it says that Ms. Veronica Ward is saying to remind the public tonight to attend a parliamentary registration department town hall meeting this evening at 6:30 at UB Performing Arts Auditorium to discuss the biometric voters registration. And she said that all Bahamians concerned should be there. So it means that they're gonna have a very high discussion on the biometric system in the Bahamas, leading supposed to be for the upcoming. She says there's gonna be a meeting tonight at the University of Bahamas at 6:30 at the Performing Arts Auditorium. So they're asking all persons to show up and give their opinions and their discussion so that they can now have their voices be heard. So that's again tonight. So I see we do still have Brother Dr. Colley came back.
Oh, he came back. Okay.
Yeah, so I will turn over the last 5
Dr.
minutes.
Colley, let him get
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Brother Dr. Colley.
Well, again, thank you so much for having me. We were having little technical issues, but thank you for having me. We're honored to be here. I honor you, Professor, and Mr. Cartwright. Wonderful show. Keep up the great work. We are listening. We are a part. Our nation is at a critical point, but it's going to take strong men like you, strong men like me, and other strong men who are listening to start, first of all, at home. Start with our own families, our own nieces, nephews, wives, children, and bring them under our responsibility. We're responsible for grooming them, raising them, and not the streets, not the drug dealer, not the gangbanger, not the church, not the coach, not any other organization, the television or the tablet. We are to do it. We are to look out for signs of when our children and our family members are distressed. In this life, we will have challenges. Jesus said in this life, you will have tribulation, but be of good cheer. You will overcome. If we will overcome the world. So we will have tribulation, we will have pain, we will have challenges. This marshmallow gospel, people don't know, but I also have a doctor of divinity in theology, so he's right. This marshmallow gospel that teaches that we're not going to go through anything as a lie. We're going to go through challenges, loss, and grief. And that's why Jesus gave us one another. That this is the commandment, that we love one another, we care for one another. And the Bible said, help those who are feeble-minded. To me, that's mental illness. Help the feeble, the weak, the feeble-minded, to strengthen them, the widows, the orphans, the outcasts, the vulnerable. And we have to get back to that. And if 10,000 people touch one life every day for the next 30 days, we'll transform this country in 30 days. If we could strengthen those boundaries, strengthen those walls. If you're hurting, if you find someone who's in distress, don't tell them just get over it. People are coping with multiple challenges that they've never seen and never faced before. I call on pastors to get to healthcare providers and stop just making up, spiritual stuff. Get to healthcare providers, get to psychologists, work with them, because we have people who have been abused multiple times by multiple people. They've been broken, they've been fragmented, and they need supernatural healing from the Lord, but they also need the support of a local community, the church, the family, the community to be restored. And that might take, just like a wound, a broken bone could take 9 months, 10 months, a year. We need some people to stick with people. Don't just put a Band-Aid on it and send them home while they're bleeding. They need long-term care and support and nurturing. And we can do it together, the church, the community, the government, the nation, you and I, every day making a difference. And if you need help, please, I'll be happy to help. You could WhatsApp me, 727-9990. WhatsApp if you have questions, concerns, if we could give you life coaching, pastors, leaders, ministers. We have a new generation and a new nation to help heal and build. And it's going to take all hands on deck. Pastors, ministers, civil rights leaders like you, Professor, all working together.
Thank you, Dr. Colley, because we are running out of time. Thank you very much, Dr. Colley from Bahama. Brother Cartwright, give your last word.
Well, I would just say Dr. Colley said it all.
Yes, he did.
So I have nothing else to say until tomorrow.
Okay, well, tomorrow will be a different day. Tomorrow is open line day, and of course, we want to get off on time. I think we got this announcement. Do we have another show coming on in Freeport? Oh, tomorrow. That's for tomorrow. Okay, good. All right. Well, okay. Yes, we appreciate Dr. Colley coming on today. This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson. We'll have open line tomorrow on the Global Radio Record 99.5 FM. Do not forget, stay safe. Please pray for the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson. Have a pleasant afternoon.